Liverpool 2, Arsenal 0. The Gunners are out of the FA Cup in the third round. Many Arsenal fans called for a performance today. They demanded their team step up today, and they could not finish their dinner. They outclassed Liverpool for large parts of that game. But the overarching quality, winning mentality, and I would say class of manager shone through in the end. To many, a smash and grab. To many, a performance that maybe warranted more. But the finishing from Arsenal today was nothing short of dog. It was absolutely shambolic. Their inability to kill Liverpool off, to put the ball into the back of the net. We will be addressing it on the Full Fan Highlight Show. I want to congratulate Liverpool because they were absolutely outclassed in the first half, hit the bar near the end of it. A brilliant tactical change from Jurgen Klopp in the second half to move Darwin Nunez out onto that left-hand side. And they were still they were still second best, but they were more potent on the counter-attack. They started to become more and more dangerous. They were creating opportunities. And the more Arsenal pushed for that opener, that allowed far more space for Liverpool. And as the game went on, you saw the nerves creep into Arsenal. We're not going to do this. We don't believe. The fans started to leave. The fans started to go quiet. The fans started whistling and booing and hissing. And it was Liverpool who grew in confidence. Liverpool who grew into that game. And an absolutely atrocious own goal from Kiwior, pushing Luis Diaz out of the way of the ball, closing his eyes, unforgivable, closing his eyes to header a ball. As a professional, that is a sackable offence at this level, heads it into the goal, and then they really had to go for broke Arsenal, but you could tell they didn't have the confidence. They did not have the confidence to score. I don't believe if this game was played for another 90 minutes, they would have scored. And to add insult to injury, to put the icing on top of the cake for Liverpool, they go down the other end. Diaz bangs it in. And 2-0, look, on the face of it, 2-0 is probably a little bit of a flattering scoreline in terms of performance for Liverpool, but warranted in the overarching elements of the game because, look, yes, possession is important. Quality of football is important. But scoring goals, we've said this many times on the football terrace, scoring goals is the hardest thing to do in football. And Arsenal today moved the ball quickly. They were energetic. They had great intensity. And I would say for the first 60-odd minutes of the game, they battered Liverpool in nearly every single element of football, barring their finishing. Now, Konate made some great blocks. Trent defended very well at times. That can't be taken away from Liverpool. That is something you applaud. That is something you celebrate if you're a Liverpool fan. But Arsenal dilly-dallying on the ball, taking additional touches, overthinking their shots. Saka with an absolute stinker of a performance overall, missing some, I wouldn't say easy chances, but some really good opportunities to give Arsenal the lead. And I felt as though if Arsenal took the lead, especially in that first half, they could have run away with this game because they were the better footballing side. But if you do not score, if you keep yourself in the friend zone of football, you face the prospect of losing. And it ended up being 2-0, but it had a 1-0 Liverpool smash and grab all over it. And the longer the game went on, you felt that at the Emirates Stadium, the fans believe. But where does the blame lie for this? We're going to go to Liverpool in a minute. But where does the blame lie for this? And I say that because did Mikel Arteta coach a win today? Did he set his team up to win and the players let him down? Is it the way in which this season he has told them to be less intense for large parts of the season? Has that taken away from the players? Are they now feeling a lack of confidence because the style has changed somewhat? Is it on the manager and the way he's set up for the season as to why they're struggling to score? 1 win in 7 matches now. 1 win in 7. That is horrendous. And it has to be called out. It has to be looked at. And today, and listen, this also looked at the board of Arsenal. Today is an advert as to why you need an out-and-out potent goal scorer. Kai Havertz is never going to be that. Your young wingers, they're out of form right now. They need an older person. They need a leader. They need somebody with experience to help them because they are not stepping up in your moment of need. And should you really be relying on 21 and 22-year-olds to do that all the time? No. It's elder statesmen that you need. But where does the blame lie in your opinion? And I said very much in the preview to this game, I thought it'd be a narrow win. And it was a narrow win for Liverpool. But I said the one thing that Arsenal players needed to do today to get their fans back on side was show their class. And they did in every single element of the game, barring putting that ball in the back of the net. And you could hear it in the crowd. There was a buzz. There's a feeling of, oh, we could win today. We could get ourselves back on track. But now what you have is a 14-day layoff until they play again. Big game now building up against Crystal Palace. Huge pressure will be on that Premier League game. They had to win today. It was so very, very, very important, not just to stay in the FA Cup with a chance of winning a trophy, which is key, but the overarching confidence, the feeling, the emotion within this current squad, because right now they look devoid of ideas. They look like they're lacking in confidence, delaying on their shots, the final ball not being good enough. One of the most potent attacks in the world in recent weeks has really lost its way. Really, and look, it's feeding into the narrative all season that they weren't very good. It's feeding into all the different narratives that the negative naysayers had. The form in the last couple of weeks is feeding into it. And it could be that they were right. Could just be that this is bad form. But something's got to change, and I think they've got to go into the transfer window. They've got to smash a team soon. They've got to play like today again and beat a team 3-4, 5-0. They need a shot in the arm of confidence, this Arsenal team. Because right now, no League Cup, no FA Cup. The pressure on winning the Premier League, the pressure on winning the Champions League is absolutely massive on Mikel Arteta and his men. Gargantuan now. They're not handling the pressure well right now. How do they cope with this? I want to get your views. I want to get your comments in the comment section below. Now, on to Liverpool. Look, I'm going to take a little sip of my Sunday afternoon drink. Listen, I said a couple of days ago, Liverpool frightened me. Liverpool do frighten me because they weren't very good today for large parts, but they won. They won. They've become inevitable again. And as wasteful as Arsenal were, have it right. As wasteful as they were, it was Konate's blocks. Sensational today. Trent put in a proper defensive display. Gomez at left back. I'm going to throw this out there now, Liverpool fans. Revelation. This man looks brilliant. The guy looks like he might score at left back as well. When he cuts in on that right peg, bang! Joe Gomez might be your left back answer. I've seen him play there, 5 times now? He looks brilliant. Excellent again today for large parts. There's moments in the game you can highlight, yes. But overall, the midfield didn't do a great job. Didn't do a great job of controlling the game. Arsenal dominated that, but it should. At home at the Emirates, Declan Rice, 100 mil, all that. The front line, I think tactically it was wrong in the first half. Darwin, Nunez, he does better on the left. Stick him on the left, you're a dangerous team. But they're inevitable. They know how to get the job done. They know how to get the job done, Liverpool. And that is why they frighten me. As a Man United fan watching them, I'm worried about the Prem. I'm worried about, it won't be the treble, but they're on for a quad this year. Again, not the quad, but a quad. They're on for it. And they're getting better and better and better. They're away, by the way. And I know people will laugh at what I'm about to say, but it's right. You're only laughing because that's true. Arsenal is still one of the best teams in England, whether you like it or not. And Arsenal went away to them in an FA Cup game today, rode their luck at times, defended valiantly throughout, and beat them 2-0. The confidence. Barring going away to the Etihad, this is the hardest draw they can get. The hardest. It's out of the way. Barring one. Are you going to get Arsenal away and City away in the same FA Cup year? Probably not. Very low likelihood of that. It'll be Man United to get City. Or United will go to Anfield next. That's my prediction. screenshot it. I do think we'll beat Wigan tomorrow, by the way. Football gods, I'm sorry, but I do. But this Liverpool team's going to get better. They still haven't fully rebuilt. But it's because they have a world-class manager. They did today without Salah. They did it without Endo. They did it without Van Dijk. Legit. They did it without Van Dijk. Terry can't be a Man United fan. No, I'm just professional at my job and drop my personal bias and hatred of all other teams when I'm working. That's all it really is. That's all it really is. I'm being, for want of a better word, professional from a YouTube perspective. That's all it really is. Terry, you are reaching. You will soon become a laughingstock. I'm reaching to say this Liverpool team is clear at the top of the league into the semi-final of the League Cup. Just knocked out Arsenal at the Emirates. And I'm wrong for claiming they're a good team. I'm not saying they're going to win the quad. I'm not saying they're going to win all 4 trophies. I don't believe that. This team is another special team is in the making. 110%. And Terry looks drunk. No, it's just 2 drinks, my friend. No man is ever drunk on 2 drinks. If you know many men that are drunk on 2 drinks, what you do is you stop being their friend because they're a liability. And never, ever, ever, ever hang around with a liability the rest of your life. Never do that. Let's go to some super chats before our panel looks good, man. I've got Sam, Ram, JJ, Tom Little, Sard. We've got man like Jason. I don't know where the rest of the Gooners are at, though. I don't know where the rest of the Gooners are at today. I need to see you people. I'm sure there'll be a joke. There'll be some dead banter. Oh, but you're here, Terry. Of course you said that. Of course you said that. Embarrassing. We need to stop having Saliba and VVD comparisons and have Konate versus Saliba comparisons. Listen, Saliba was excellent today, I felt. I don't really put today down to Saliba. I don't think it was a defensive issue for Arsenal at all today. Poor first half, great second, great result. Jota is clutch. Bradley has looked good back every time he's come on. Yeah, I thought Bradley looked I thought both those youngsters that came on, Clark, who came on, is he related to Rob Clark? Is he related to, yeah, he is related to, is he related to the Clark? Yeah, I just see the boys backstage. Yeah, both looked really good and comfortable when they came on. Thank you, my bro. Kieran here laughing at Arsenal for going out. We are crying out for a bloody striker, is what Adam has got to say. Josh, thank you very much for being a member now for 2 months. I appreciate that, brother. Liverpool teenagers, mud gunners on their backyard. You'll never walk alone, is what Curran says here. For F's sake, someone give Arsenal a map to the correct net. What's up with this team, Terry? This team has lost its confidence in front of goal. It has. And I think that there could be multiple reasons for that. It's lost its confidence in front of goal. It can score. It has scored. They will score again. But they're going for a barren period right now. And it's hurting them. 5 a.m. to watch that shit, crying myself to sleep. I'm sorry about that, Tony. But at least you're here with the terrace. Arsenal are simply not as good as you think. Well, Arsenal are as good as I think they are. As I said, I think they'll be in the title race this year. I thought they finished 2nd or 3rd this year. They got knocked out by a Liverpool team, so maybe I did expect them to go further in the F. I mean, Arsenal kind of where I thought they'd be this year. They're just going through a bad period within that year. So yes, I've never said they're the best team in England. Never said they're the best team in Europe. Never said they would batter Liverpool. Never said they would guarantee to beat Liverpool or anybody or City to the title. I've never said any of those things. Not once. Don't want to see these idiots who defend Arteta here anymore. They are a joke, and so is he. Players don't finish because he chose them. Disgrace to the city is what Carlos Silva has got to say here. Strong words there about Mikel Arteta. Bigger fish to fry, settings on. Yeah, I don't want to hear any of that nonsense, you know. Where's Saka? Where is Arsenal's wonder boy? Has had several abysmal games in a row. Needs to be sat down for a game or two. I agree. And I know they want an out-and-out striker, but I think they might be... Look, they could go and sign someone like a Rafinha right now that might do him a better job. Because Saka looks arse right now. There's talk that he's carrying an Achilles injury that he's had for a long time. He's played ridiculous numbers of games for his age. Maybe that's playing a part. But whatever it is, he needs to ride on the pine pony. He's got to be on that bench. 100%. This showed the difference between the class between Klopp and Arteta. Arteta out. We are back to 0 is what Andy B has got to say. That's a big claim. Arsenal need a striker. Get a striker. Striker is what Robert People says. No VVD, no Salah, Endo, Soboslai still beat Arsenal away. Great result for Liverpool. Look, they've got players missing too, but a great result for Liverpool. No Salah, no Virgil, 2-0 away from home. Hold that is what Sean P. Casey says. Ha, 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 I'm drinking your tears. Terry, hold that. Oh, my team didn't lose, bro. I'm good. I'm good. Saka nominated for an Oscar, not Ballon d'Or. Saka is Arsenal's Bruno. Talk about he's diving and crying all the time. When did he dive? Did he dive for a penalty? I didn't even see that. I sound like peak Wenger now. Yeah, I did not see this. Seems like your daddy issues can't leave you alone. Arsenal scares me. Keep simping. Arsenal ain't winning anything. Peace, kiddo. Yeah, I don't have any daddy issues. Me and my daddy have a great relationship. Me and my children have a great relationship. I'm not too sure about you, Nabil, bringing my family up. Talk about this. But that's my opinion about Arsenal a year ago. And as a Man United fan, they're still exponentially better than we are. So I'm talking about them from my perspective. My perspective and your perspective may not be the same thing. Do you actually understand how that works? Like from most of the viewers' perspective, you're a knobhead. I think you're all right. That doesn't mean they have to agree with me. It is what it is. I don't know why Arteta keeps Saka on. I'm fuming. It's a great challenge. Cash in on Martinelli and Jesus, get proper scorers. It's an interesting take. I'm so happy right now to see our AFTV in tears. What a fraud. I want to thank, by the way, Tyler Jones here for gifting out some memberships. You're an absolute legend. Thank you to Laith for also becoming a member. Losing to Liverpool's B team, Arsenal looking scary. Now, look, I'm not going to call it Arsenal, the Liverpool's B team. It was the strongest team you had available, the same as Arsenal. It's still a team full of Champions League winners, Premier League winners, multiple trophy winners, internationals. Let's not go too far with this now. Poor side picked. Havertz shocking. Arsenal overall shocking, but they've got Super Mick Farteta. Hashtag fear the football gods. This here says, don't blame Arteta. These players can't effing score. Terry, oh my God, what a blessing in disguise. Gomez, what a lad. It's not a blessing for them. We applied so much pressure to Arsenal's season by this win. Only the Premier League or Champions League to win, which is really difficult. Love this win. It's inject it into my veins. Thank you, Sharim. I appreciate you, bro. But his job isn't to score in this system. Look at his pressing. I saw a journalist describe Havertz as an outstanding today. What happened to quality? Yeah, Havertz had some good moments, but none of the Arsenal players were outstanding today. Not the attacking players anyway. You're right. It's crazy that anyone's saying that. All style, no substance, won't win anything. I agree. Not playing like this. I would like to thank Arsenal for the wonderful birthday gift. They are the gift that keeps on giving. Second half, all full incoming. Book market. Doctor asked me to hydrate more. Arsenal fans' tears is doing it for me. No biggie. Arsenal have bigger fish to fry, like winning both the Prem and the Champions League. Remember, they told us when they crashed out of the Carabao Cup. Yeah, never say that. But Chelsea didn't know how to use Havertz. Hold that is what True Blue Clay says. Kai Havertz, most pathetic player ever, is what Ryan has got to say here. Arsenal's last few games, 85 shots, no goals. It's atrocious. It's atrocious. I backed Arteta from the start. Also, he can't help that Saka and Havertz miss, but his stubbornness is ridiculous. What's the point of a 95th minute sub? I agree with you again. Arsenal are in the mud. Arsenal are in the mud. Wherever they go, they are full of mud, is what man like Data has got to say to us here. Look, we're going to bring out the panel. It is going to be a big one. It's going to take a while to get through, but you know there's no better place to be than the football terrace right now. So hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Please make sure you are subscribing as well. But on the show today, we have Brandon, we have Matt, we have Jason, we have Sard, we've got JJ, Tom Little, Ram, Sam, and man like Strasbourg Steve is joining us as a neutral. Welcome back to the show, gentlemen. I want to go straight in here. The Liverpool boys obviously celebrating, of course. Congratulations to you. Brandon, another game where you dominated, had an abundance of chances, but you just couldn't score. Talk to me.
Bigger fish to fry, Tell. Bigger fish to fry. Yeah? Just sack him. Put us out of our misery and sack him tonight, for God's sake. For God's sake. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and blame Mikel Arteta in full, because the first 45 minutes, everything about our game was excellent, apart from the finishing, yet again. You know, the same old thing happening over and over and over again. And it doesn't matter who we play up front. It doesn't matter who we play in our front three anymore. Nobody can seem to finish their chances. Why is that? I don't understand.
So how's that Arteta's fault, though?
Well, let me explain. Right? But before I go into that, let's just talk about, the performance today. 45 minutes, we play 3 different players up front, apart from Bukayo Saka. None of them could put the ball in the back of the net, right? We dominated Liverpool in that first 45 minutes, and I think even the Liverpool boys will sit here and hold their hands up and say the same, right? But when you don't finish your chances, this is what happens. This is exactly what happens, right? So I'm looking at it now, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, my man just said, how's that Mikel Arteta's fault? These are the options that he's left us with. £640 million spent, and he's left us with no clinical striker. Guess what? In the summer, I was telling everybody, we need a striker. And everybody said, oh, no, we don't. We scored 85 goals in the Premier League last season. I said, I don't care. We need a clinical striker. Because all it takes is for one of them players to start drying up and not hitting the levels of performance that we see last season in terms of their goals and assists. All it takes is for 1 or 2 of them players to drop poor performances throughout the season, and all of a sudden our goals are dried up. And what's happened? Our goals are drying up, right? So it's his fault. It's on him, right? Because he couldn't recognise that we didn't need we need a striker. £640 million spent. And then what's worse than that, right? And I'm going to get on to him about his substitutions yet again today. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Mikel Arteta is not a good manager. Good coach, not a good manager. Because his in-game management is absolutely pathetic. Pathetic at times. We've got Trossard on the bench, a guy who scored a hat-trick against Liverpool for Brighton, right? A guy who is clinical in front of goal at times. Okay, he's dropped poor performances this season, but he knows where the back of the net is. Right? How many chances fell to Kai Havertz today? And he's missed them. Or his shooting is absolutely pathetic and weak and feeble. Right? Then you've got Eddie Nketiah on the bench. I don't rate that guy, but he's our top goal scorer this season, aside from Bukayo Saka. He also might have put 1 or 2 of them chances away. Then you've got Smith Rowe, who cannot even seem to get a kick right now, when 2 seasons ago, he scored 10 goals in the Premier League, making late runs from deep. What is going on? I don't understand. We're out of both domestic cups at the turn of the year yet again. And if anybody genuinely thinks we're winning the Champions League or the Premier League, do me a favour. Yeah? And then there's rumours going around, oh, we're not looking at a striker in January. We're looking at left back. Left back. Do me a favour. Just sack him. Sack him tonight. Yeah? And once again, right, this is another bugbear with me with Arsenal. If we haven't got our former players scoring against us or putting in great performances against us, there's one player for Liverpool who, to be honest with you, when the team lineup came out, I thought, really? Jota's on the bench? Because that's one guy in Liverpool, apart from Mo Salah, that I am genuinely scared of as an Arsenal fan, because he turns up against us every single time and he scores or he assists or whatever. Once again, Jota comes off the bench and we fold. Once again, we're asked to defend, our area on a number of occasions. Not that much today, but on a handful of occasions, we was asked to defend our area. Once again, set piece, we concede. Against the run of play. Pathetic. Yeah?
I hear you on that. I want to go to Sard here. Is it time to sack Mikel Arteta? Do you agree with what Brandon is saying here? 1 win in 7, out of the Carabao Cup, out of the FA Cup, 5 points off the top of the league. What are you saying, bro?
Nah, I wouldn't say not yet. All I'm saying, the reason why is because I said I'm going to give him to the end of the season to see what happens. If there's any miracle that we can somehow do something
To the end of the
but
season.
we need a hold on. I'm giving him to the end of the season just in case. Who knows, man? We could bring in a striker. Who knows?
In case what?
Who knows? I'm living in dreamland right now, and I could
My
possibly
friend,
be just.
We're not
reaching,
winning the Champions
but
League.
bro, listen,
We're not
I'm
winning.
not. I'm not going.
Come
Hold
on,
on, Brandon. I'm not going to say
League,
Mikel
my
Arteta
friend.
out now.
We are falling further and further
say,
down the league.
Okay, but we're still. How many points are we away from top?
We're not winning the league, bro.
We're not winning the league, my friend.
Fine.
Yeah?
So I'm not going to sit here and say Mikel Arteta out, bro. I'm not going to sit here and say Mikel Arteta out right now.
And
if it gets worse and we end up in like third or fourth, then yeah, bro, questions have got to be asked about the manager. 100%.
You are fourth, though.
But in regards to
I'm talking
about finishing in fourth.
As things stand right now, where do you genuinely think we're going to finish this season? As things stand right now, because as things stand right now, right, we're not getting a striker in January, and I don't believe the football club will go and get a striker in January. Okay,
but you still have Thomas Partey to come in.
What's Thomas Partey going to do? Is he going to finish them chances,
so
my friend?
We could use the same argument for
ourselves.
We could use the exact same argument for Liverpool. We got Robertson coming back. We got Thiago coming back. We got Mo Salah coming back. We got Endo. We got players coming back as well. So have Manchester City.
Van Dijk.
You can't use the Partey thing as a thing.
Yes, but I'm not gonna sit here and say Mikel Arteta out right now. Yeah, I think it's still a bit too early for you to just. Well, listen, I don't really go against what anybody else says. If you're Mikel Arteta out, then you're Mikel Arteta out. I'm just not there yet. Do you know what I mean? I think that the team could still go somewhere. I think that we could possibly still do something. There's still a chance, bro. We're not out of the title race yet, are we?
Terry, can I reword what Saad said? Can I just quickly reword what Saad said? Because I think I'm gonna touch on an issue that Arsenal fans want to fly away from. If you don't win the league and you get knocked out of the Champions League, is Mikel Arteta going to get sacked? Would you want him sacked? Because I asked this to all the Arsenal fans. This is the season where he's either going to be your Ranieri or your Jose Mourinho. And this is where the season where you're going to find out whether you have to go out and get the Mourinho that you need to win the trophies. So I'm going to ask you this, Saad. If he doesn't do anything this season, is he going to get sacked in your opinion?
I think it could be the end of the road for him, yeah. If he doesn't win anything this season, I think it could be the end of the road for him.
I hear you on that. Matt, obviously very disappointed. I can see you there slumped in your chair. Where do you sit? Because it's what's come up on the show, so we're going to go over it organically. Where do you sit with the Arteta conversation? 1 win in 7, out of both domestic trophies, falling away from the title race, investments into players that are not delivering, £750 million spent. Is it the end of the road for Mikel Arteta, in your opinion? If not, why? You're on mute.
Yeah, you're
bro.
on mute.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm muted now. I'm muted. You go on.
Okay. I don't think it is. No. I would give Mikel Arteta until the end of next season, and if he hasn't won anything significant,
End of next season
or a champion. All right, let me speak.
Okay, sorry.
A Premier League and a Champions League, or a Champions League, then yeah, I would say that is the end of the road for him. I think these past couple of games, I don't think it is on him. I think it's on our attackers to actually put the ball in the back of the net, because how we've been playing, bar that Fulham game, we have been playing out of our minds, but we just can't put the ball in the net. We dominated Liverpool today. We dominated West Ham. Like, we've dominated every single team this season that we have played, but we just can't put the ball in the back of the net at some games.
Cool. But who signed them players, bro? Who signed the players to put the ball in the back of the net?
And he didn't sign Martinelli.
No, he didn't.
And
You're
he
right.
didn't sign Eddie Nketiah.
Okay, cool. He signed Gabriel Jesus, yeah?
Right.
Yeah? He signed Gabriel Jesus, knowing full well that Gabriel Jesus has never, ever, ever, ever been a clinical striker. Cool, right? I'm a fan of Gabriel Jesus. I don't think he's a number one striker. He gave Eddie Nketiah a new contract, 100 grand a week. That is a Mikel Arteta signing, yeah? Because he gave him the contract. He's refusing to sell him in this window, right? He decided that we'll go out and buy Jakub Kiwior, we'll go out and buy this player and that player who he clearly doesn't trust in, right? Because he doesn't want to ever bring them off the bench to change a game. Okay,
So you
quick,
think,
Kiwior
hold up. So you think Arteta doesn't want to sell Eddie Nketiah this window?
Well, yeah, that's what we're hearing.
Why
Because
do you
apparently
think
we don't
he
need a
was
striker,
benched?
mate. We need a left back.
Why do you think he was benched today?
Why do I think he was benched today?
Yes.
Because he's not good enough. Because he's got a fetish with Kai Havertz. That's why.
But
Yeah.
Kai Havertz hasn't played that number 9 role at all this season. He's
Well, he
probably
did
played
because he
twice
played it
this
against.
season.
He did
Yeah.
because he played it against Man City in the
Two or three
Community
times,
Shield.
right? But if we played Eddie Nketiah today, which we have, he's now cup tired. So it makes it even harder to sell him to the likes of Brentford and Crystal Palace.
Okay, cool. So he better sell him then in this window. He better sell him in this window, and we better go and get a striker. People are out there going, "Yep, we can't get Ivan Toney. It's too expensive. Go and get me Benzema on a 6-month loan then. Yeah, go and get me
He's not
somebody who
doing
can put the
anything,
ball
man.
in the back of the net.
He's not doing anything in Saudi. What's he
Who
going to do?
cares?
Bro,
That
he's
is
better
a
than
proven,
Nketiah, bro.
that is a proven goal scorer, 36 years old or not,
Proven
whether he's
goal
doing
scorer
anything in the
in
Saudi
La
league or
Liga.
not.
He
That is
can't
a
do it in the
guy
Saudi
who
league.
knows where the back of the net is.
So why
At
can't
the
he do it in the
moment,
Saudi
we're
league?
relying on the likes of Kai Havertz, yeah, or Eddie Nketiah, or Gabriel
Right.
Jesus.
So
I agree.
why can't he
I
do it in
agree.
the
I
Saudi
agree.
league?
So I'll
A
say it's cool.
36-year-old Benzema over every single one of them players right now.
I agree. It's not
Right
Arteta's
now.
fault. I agree. It's not Arteta's fault. You had something last season which you shouldn't have really changed. In the way that you were playing, you came into this season. You obviously Saka had to go, and you bought Kai Havertz. You can see the regression in your style of play. Yes, you wanted more control, but you sacrificed goals. So when I looked at this match and I saw that even before, I said this. Actually, I'm gonna play it.
0-0 against Man United, the other games where our attack has struggled, we have missed shot. Why do you think we drew today? I think we missed our chances. Yeah, Trent bottled it. Yeah, Trent did. Trent did. And literally, we should have won the game. I believe we should have won the game. Yeah. On the balance. We see at the Emirates though, man. No, we'll beat you at the Emirates. I have no on the Trent 6.
I knew this from before that we will beat you at the Emirates because you can't shoot to save your lives. Just hella shots, not that are effective, none that is actually going in the back of the net. And this is where I see the clear tactics that I see for difference from this season to last season is killing you. It is killing you right now. Yeah, you played more of a transitional football last season. And that's why Martinelli, Saka was getting all the goals because they were getting in behind. Odegaard was linking up with them well. And your attack was flourishing. Huh?
They weren't getting double marked either.
Yeah, because people actually respect you as a team now. So welcome to the big league. Like Liverpool get doubled up with their wingers. Man City get doubled up with their wingers. Come on.
Their wingers are beyond world class. You've got Mo Salah.
Oh, so you admit that Saka and Martinelli are world class,
history, right? And we've got Saka, who is still learning. He's 22.
I'm not hearing that.
Sorry, where do we find? Where should we find sympathy with that?
Saying, this has been
Why should we sympathise with that?
He's still learning. He's played 200 Premier League games.
Honestly, Matt, my heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to you that your winger isn't apparently able to deal with a man, even though today he had about 3 chances where he didn't have a man on him.
Yeah, they have
on a couple of them and he just scarred him. So my heart goes out to you, mate. Honestly, it really does. Even though we had to play a 20-year-old winger today.
Too extreme. That's laughable. That is absolutely
Jason,
laughable.
I know you've been someone that's kind of been on Arteta's back before. Are you done with him and this team? Do you think they need somebody new leading them now?
That's a silly question, Terry, man. I've done it with him for like 3 years now. Like he's finished. Like the way he structured the team, 640 million spent. Bro, we have Eddie Nketiah up front, Gabriel Jesus up front, bro. We have no strikers. I'm just here today, yeah. Like I know I was pissed off, but I wasn't even surprised with the performance, man, because the team is dire. I can't lie. Barring the 3 who I really rate, Gabriel, Saliba, and Declan Rice, everyone can F off. I can't lie. Saka is bang average. Ever since he dyed his hair, Martinelli runs like a headless chicken. And we just need a striker, man. It's pathetic, man. This Arteta guy, he better be walking his way back to Spain right now, man. I can't lie. The guy is trash. He makes subs once again late. He makes his subs late. He brings on Smith Rowe on the 90th minute. Like he takes the piss out of him. Like 2 years ago, he scored 10 goals a season. And where was he? Like, where was any chance? Like there's always chance. Havertz had to play 90 minutes and he had a stinker the whole game. Like he has his favourites, man, honestly. And top
Can I just quickly read something out? Okay, so Mark Goldbridge has put Arteta out is incredible. I love to be in Arsenal's position. You rebuilt the whole club from a laughing stock to a young team.
We're still a laughing stock right now. We're still a laughing stock right now.
He's talking from the perspective of a Man United fan.
And 2 fullbacks to be close.
I don't care about Mark Goldbridge, man. He has
why would you want to sack Arteta? I don't get it. I do not get it at all.
We're going to come back to Goldbridge's point in a minute. I want to pull on something else that Jason just said because I don't want that to go under the radar. JJ, I want to ask you this question. Is Saka average, like Jason has just suggested?
This season, yeah.
He's good. Is he world class? I don't think so. Very one-dimensional. I feel like
is he better than Jared Bowen?
No, JJ, don't hold back, bro. Don't hold back.
No. I think. Look, I'm going to be honest, and I've said this for a while. I think when it comes to Saka, Saka's a very kind of. You're a left back. We're going to put you out wide now, and you're going to do the same thing over and over again in training. We're going to do the same movement. You're going to get that ball. You're going to pass it. You're going to come inside, do a 1-2. And if that doesn't work, like there's nothing else. There's no, I'm going to do a step over, go on the outside. You just know he's going to, he's going to come in on his left side. And when you've got a right-footed centre back at left back, that's easy to deal with. There was even a ball over the top where Joe Gomez looked like he's behind him, got back in front and just stood there because knew like, go on, take it on your right foot. Of course he wasn't going to do that. He had to come inside and that's why he just shot it, just kicked the ball at Gomez. I think Saka, look, they do it with English players a lot. When you're doing really well, they overrate you. Do you know what I mean? They overrate you. Like, do you know what I mean? He's not bad, he's not terrible, but is he world class? Is he the best in his position in the league? This is what people are trying to tell me. Bear in mind, we had Mahrez, Salah, and Co in the league last year. But he's the best on the league on form? Maybe, yeah. But
you know what? Fair play, yeah. Fair play. He got the GA, yeah. Apparently got 19 GA in 25 games, but. Then again, his overall performance stinks, man. I can't lie. He's so predictable for fullbacks now. Like, you know, when I know in coming back to Matt's point, oh yeah, everyone's double upping on him. Look at Salah. Look at the other Man City wingers that's been doubled up on. They have other ideas.
Compared Saka to Salah.
What do you mean?
If you're going to call him world class,
that's the argument. That's the argument people are having.
That's the whole point. If you're going to call him world class, you've got to put him on that level.
Sorry, you can't expect to sit in these arguments for league titles and Champions Leagues, and then whenever your players don't perform, go, it's okay though, it's this, it's that. You've got to call them out. If you're good enough, you're old enough. And Bukayo Saka is showing that he only has one element to his game right now. And I've seen Gomez do him. I rate Gomez as a good defender. But he's not the only one. I've seen Anthony Robinson do him. I've seen a lot of average to poor defenders deal with Bukayo Saka this season, whether or not he's being double up on or not, because he has one avenue. And this is the one thing he's got to get out of his game. He's not this elite finisher. He's a decent creator. He's not an elite creator. Bukayo Saka is not elite at anything. He needs to find the aspect he needs to become elite in, and he needs to find it soon. Because you can't be a best in the Premier League right winger if you're just you're not going to be this best winger in the Premier. If you're just decent. It's not how it works.
We had the same thing with Trent. I've got to say, all I just want to say, not even say, the way Arsenal fans are moving is how Liverpool fans were moving last year. I think you guys need some therapy. Me and some of the Liverpool fans, do you know what I mean? We were holding therapy sessions. We used to, do you know what I mean? We found that we sourced packs of copium. They came in packs of 24, 3 in a pack. There's a nice deal, $13.99. Get at me, Tom, Ram, whoever's on the panel. We'll definitely ship that out to you. Do you know what I mean? We still got stock from last season. The fact you're melting down like this, whilst being second, third, fourth, whatever it is in this title race, is crazy. Crazy.
You know what?
I've
got a question for you Liverpool guys, right? Because this is... How much of this with Arteta at Arsenal reminds you of Brendan Rodgers at your club?
Do you know what the difference is?
Could not get you over the line.
Do you know what the difference we had? It was so obvious because we had Luis Suarez in our team. It was so obvious. When he left, everything fell apart. Everything fell apart. And then you look at the signings, barring Daniel Sturridge and Coutinho, who were great signings for us, none of them weren't really of that level. And then you got Mama Saka, who was okay, wasn't that great. No, that's why I mentioned Coutinho and Sturridge. Yeah. Other than those two, everyone else was more or less meh.
I think that's a good question. JJ brings up a good point here, though. Are Arsenal fans, and I've said this for the last 3 games now, are you panicking too soon? And is that also damaging your team?
No. Did you hear the Emirates tonight, Tel? Did you hear the Emirates? Yeah?
What about it?
Because against West Ham, you were saying about how you couldn't hear the fans. Mm-hmm. I could hear the fans clearly tonight.
Yep.
Right? The fans were there tonight and they was up for this game. And it showed in that first 45 minutes. But ultimately, once again, what happened was we didn't take our chances and we allowed Liverpool back into the game in the second half. So I don't think this is a fan issue at all. Yeah, you've got the handful like me, Lee, and you know, a few others that are just like, no, this manager isn't good enough. But the majority of Arsenal fans are behind this, right? The majority of Arsenal fans seem to think that this is all of a sudden going to turn around. I don't think it will.
But Brandon, if you're saying that tactically, like not tactically, but if you're saying that, look, I mean, prior to this, people were saying, you know, Liverpool, Arsenal have played some amazing football. We dominate every game, but we just can't finish. Then surely that's on the players. Now you can talk about the transfer policy of it, but if you had different players, you might not dominate in the same way. You should have been 4-0 up. You should have been 4-0 up at one point in that game, if we're going to be honest. Yet you allowed Liverpool to go and score. Do you know what I mean? Just scummy their way to a win.
JJ, I'm going to say something real quick.
More than anything.
I'm going to slide in with your point nicely. You see the difference between Liverpool and Arsenal. Liverpool played Newcastle. We had so many shots on target. It could have easily been a game where it's like, oh, Liverpool couldn't score. But we ended up being 4-2. Arsenal against Aston Villa, where was it Aston Villa where you had a lot of shots?
West Ham. It was West Ham.
Oh, sorry, West Ham. It was West Ham. No, it was actually Aston Villa as well, because I
it's just all their games. They just seem to have a lot of shots in all their games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but it's what I feel like is that expectation of Arsenal has risen this season because people know that they're a good team. So when the expectation has risen, when they go into the moments where it's squeaky bum time, they crumble.
Yeah, all it is, we had this problem early on. We had this problem early on under Klopp when you look at your attack and it's decent, it's creating the chances, but no one's scoring. There is no killer in that Arsenal squad. There is. I don't believe Arteta has a man he looks at and goes, he could finish for me. If the chance fell to him in the 90th, he's burying that. You don't have one. You lack one. Liverpool have multiple now. Liverpool can produce. Liverpool have got defenders who I'd trust to, bury chance in the last minute. I look at the Arsenal squad. Wouldn't trust Odegaard. Wouldn't trust Saka. Wouldn't trust Martinelli. Wouldn't trust Jesus. Wouldn't trust Havertz. That's the big problem. You spent 600 million quid and you've not addressed the toughest thing in football.
And this is where it comes down to the manager and the recruitment team again, because like you just said, right? You're talking about Liverpool. They've got multiple killers. Even Darwin Nunez, right? Who hasn't ripped it up in the Premier League, but you can look at him. He's a proven goal scorer. He's proved it elsewhere. Yeah. We don't have anybody. We've signed Kai Havertz, who couldn't hit a bar and door at Chelsea. We signed Gabriel Jesus, who was never, ever a clinical goal scorer. And we allowed Eddie Nketiah to stay and sign a £100,000 a week contract and give him the number 14. These are all decisions that the manager has made, right? So, yeah, okay, you could blame the players for not finishing their chances, but who decided to keep these players and sign these players in the first place?
And Brandon, just to add on what you're saying, yeah, I think when you look back at the start of the season of what Arsenal fans were saying, they set themselves up for this massive fall. They set themselves up. You talk about the players that you kept hyping up, players that aren't proven. Your manager is still not proven. Everyone likes to do the comparison with Liverpool and Arsenal because we're very similarly run teams. But the difference between us, we've got a winner of a manager who's won league titles elsewhere and done it against a monopoly. We've got players who have, when we signed players, Fabinho won a title against PSG with Monaco. Like we signed Shaqiri, who won league titles with Bayern Munich. Like we've signed players that won trophies. And look at the signings, barring Zinchenko and Jesus. You haven't signed those players, and the signings that you made this season made 0 sense. It made no sense. But whenever there was pushback,
Havertz
Arsenal fans didn't want to hear it. When I told you Kai Havertz isn't an 8, he's never been an 8 unless you put proper protection behind him, which you don't because you got Martin Odegaard next to him. It was never going to work. So the pushback from Arsenal fans saying, "Oh, nothing's wrong, everything's great, all these players are amazing. Kai Havertz is a generational talent," all that kind of nonsense. The fall is gonna be massive. You set
Is that they
yourselves up
lie
for
to
a massive
themselves,
fall.
you know? Most Arsenal fans actually lie to themselves because, you know, all these times, yeah, when they was playing like a Chelsea, Shy Havertz and stuff like that. And when we're linked with him, it's just like, bro, come on, Kai Havertz, young German player. It's all, they hype them up for no reason, man. Like, you guys never tell the truth. Like, even when, like, you call out all the players, but Arteta's never to blame. That's what I'm saying. Toxic positivity.
Yeah. Do you know how funny today was? Do you know how funny today was? I watched my manager sit there and take the piss. He didn't want a replay, but he didn't think we were going to go on and you know, dominate the game for the rest of it. He brought on the kids. He took the piss. He brought on the kids, and yet we still won because when it got to squeaky bum time, I watched Martinelli, one of the best wingers in the league, apparently, get pocketed by a lad who was doing up Rochdale away last year. Bradley done nothing wrong against him. Bradley held his own perfectly against him. This is Martinelli, who's supposed to be, you know, one of the biggest threats in the league, ready to take that next step. Is there time to now realise that what Arsenal done last year was a flash in the pan? It was literally just because Liverpool weren't any good last year.
No, Tom, we're not allowed to say that. We're not allowed
He's only
to say
20.
that.
He's only 20, guys.
No,
Sorry,
Tom, we're not allowed to say that. Remember last season when we said it was a flash in the pan and we got absolutely cooked for it? We're not allowed to say it was a flash in the pan. Arsenal are an amazing team. They got one of the best players they got one of the best right wingers in the world. They got the best left wing in the world. They got one of the best goalkeepers, best centre back partnership. Everything.
Even though today I watched a Van Dijkless Liverpool, I watched Canate walk up to the Emirates, stand in the Emirates, take the piss out of Arsenal. Jarell Conte even took the piss and he got injured halfway through. They both took the piss out of Arsenal. They had no respect for Arsenal. They were just blocking shots because Kai Havertz took 3 years to take one. And we won. Every single Liverpool player there. I think it's very telling that Liverpool and Man City do not respect Arsenal. But they respect each other. That's the big difference. Until you're able to get the respect from the big clubs, you're not at that level. And that's the fact today. And Man City finishes that game in that first half. If that was at Anfield and it was the other way around, we finished that game in the first half. Arsenal don't have it. It's fine to not have it. But I don't know how you get that. I don't know how you get that gene in you because certain players, they run out of time to get it. We keep running this thing on Saka. Oh, he's young, he's got time. He's played about 300 games. That injury problem is coming sooner rather than later, as it always does for players who play loads of football when they're young. The injuries catch up later on. Saka should have developed that killer edge by now. Martinelli needs to hurry up and develop that killer edge before it goes. If you don't do that, there's no point. Because you're just going to end up in a different problem where if your striker don't play, I'm assuming you're buying a striker, who knows? You might just buy another fucking Chelsea flop to play up top, who knows? But if you buy a striker, you're just going to end up with a problem where everything has to go through the striker or you're not scoring goals. Arsenal have a real problem because we should not have won that game today. But because of that and that, we won. And Arsenal don't have that.
We're going to go to some super chats and come back to another. We've got a lot of super chats to get through here. This one here says, Ali, one semi-difficult save to make from a deflection. Yeah, that's one thing I would say. It didn't work the goalkeeper enough today, Arsenal. With all them chances, it was more blocks. CFC Pirate says the Arsenal front three won't stand a chance against...
Photo glimpse of Norway.
There we go. Let alone Liverpool.
They literally
Manny here says fan base is pathetic. Seeing empty seats with one goal down. Arsenal was toothless. Subs were too late. Another wasted competition. I didn't really respond earlier because I wanted the panel to speak. But when Brandon said like the crowd was good for the first 45 minutes, come the 55th, 60th minute, it went again. If you'd have maintained that for the whole 90, could have still been different. You need to whether. I get you want some of these players gone, you want new people to come in. But until that happens, you've got to I think you just got to stand behind them because it's not going to get better. Listen, I get, no, it's not to come on sale. I get where you guys are coming from. You guys, people like you, Brandon, want to be Real Madrid. You want to get the white hankies out and smash their cars up after games. But you're not Real Madrid.
I'm not even going to say that, Tel. All I'm going to say
like Real Madrid
is, yeah, okay, the 55th minute, maybe it dampened down a little bit. But that's because you know, we've just watched God knows how many missed chances in the first 45 minutes.
It dampened down when Diogo
The seed of doubt. The seed of doubt.
I understand, but know your team. Your team does not play well when your crowd does that. So why do it? You want them to win. So fight against your natural instincts and come on, boys, keep your chins up, keep going. That's what you need to do to help these young men. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's what's needed. There's a difference between those two things.
Terry,
I need to try and get through some more of these super chats, mate. There's like 44 of them, and I want to respect the viewers as best we can. Thank you, Manny. LVG got us to a FA Cup playing awful. Arsenal flopped. That's from Ronnie. Arsenal fans say it loud. AFTV, what a frauds. Fair enough. Well, I don't know what they've said, so I don't know what that's in reference to. Kai Kills attacks confidence whenever he goes. Would you say that's fair, Steve? Do you think Kai Havertz is the reason that Arsenal's attack has lost confidence?
I mean, it don't help. That's the problem. It don't help. And when you're looking for a solution, you don't want to bring in a guy that doesn't move the needle. You want to bring a guy that moves the needle. So, I mean, yeah, obviously a Chelsea fan saying that too. It's a bit of banter, but there might be some slight truth in that. He doesn't help enough. That's what it is for me.
Paul here said he's gutted. He says Brandon's 100% right. Ramsdale and Saliba. Played well.
I actually thought Ramsdale had quite a good game.
He made a really good save towards the end, definitely. Come on, Gooners. It's just at the Emirates, not Anfield. Don't be reactionary. Arsenal can still win the double. Sack him if he wins nothing. I'm pretty sure Balogun wouldn't have finished those chances, though.
I can still get with Zendaya, mate. Don't worry. I'll hold out the hope.
The sitter in pre-season. He went round the keeper and still missed. I don't think he would have.
Arsenal have bigger fish to fry. A little banter there. Man like Dan says, is Arsenal had the bottle, they'd sack Arteta an upgrade. He's a stepping stone, but he'll probably secure Champions League fourth. Brandon, let me ask you a question. This question was exposed. If you sack Arteta now, who do you bring him to replace him that is realistic, that you can guarantee to sign? Who's the man you bring in to make you even better?
God knows, Tel. I don't know.
They don't know.
Our job to figure that out, is it? But
Brandon, it's not your job to be fair.
No,
yeah, but who would you like, though? Who do you think would be the guy? Who'd you go, him?
I mean, I haven't really thought about that, Tel, to be honest with you. I haven't. But I want a winner. You know, and this is this is a point that Lee Gunner always makes as well. Anybody that we suggest will get just thrown out anyway. If I sat here and said Conte or Simeone or someone like that, someone with a proven record, they'll go, oh, no. But, you know, just to the super chat, right, where he's saying he's a stepping stone, probably secure Champions League and fourth, and they'll be happy. That's 100% right.
I get you. The people in the comments. I get the people in the comments might say no, disregard him, but I would personally like to hear who would be your choice.
Go get me Zidane or Hansi Flick.
Let me ask you a question about Zidane, though. This isn't to challenge you. Great choice. Do you genuinely believe he'd say yes to Arsenal?
No, why not?
No, I'm asking you why he would. Why would he pick Arsenal?
Well, why not? We're in the Champions League. We was in a title race last season. Yeah. If we offer him enough money, you know, a bit like Spurs when, you know, they got Mourinho and they got Conte. If you offer him enough money, they'll come. He's a proven winner as a player and a manager. Why not?
I think the other benefit of Zidane, if he did decide to choose Arsenal, you know what it is? He'll be able to attract players. Because, for example, Maldini, when he was sporting director at Milan, Tomori said it. When Maldini called Tomori up on the phone, he told his dad immediately, he's like, oh my God, Maldini just called me. I'm going to Milan.
Bring back Emery.
That kind of pull.
I bring back Emery. Look, I agree with paying all the money. I just don't think there's two managers there's four managers I don't believe Arsenal can get. Klopp and Pep, granted. There's no way you're taking Ancelotti away from Real Madrid. I know Everton got him, but right now, why would you leave Real Madrid for Arsenal? There's no point. And I don't think Zidane wants to come and manage in England. They're the only four that I think are unattainable. I think everybody else, you're big enough and wealthy enough to go, there's a blank check, write what you need. I think everybody else is attainable. I just think the four managers you can't get are them. I actually think Diego Simeone is attainable for a club your size, for the right amount. I mean, you'd have to pay him about 20 to 25 million pounds a year to manage for you. But the only 4 I don't think you can get are those.
And the other thing as well, is we've proven over the last 3 to 4 years with Mikel Arteta, we're willing to spend money. So it's not like we're going to, go and get a top manager and then restrict them budget in terms of the budget.
Very true. Very, very true. This here from Jonathan. He says, Arteta thinks he's our Pep, but really he's our Pellegrini. Arsenal gets a winning manager. They have a chance to be contenders for a decade. I said this at the beginning of the season. I said, I feel like this season is win-win for Arsenal. Arteta's going to win, or you're going to move him on, bring in somebody better, and then win. And as fans, you should not be thinking about Arteta. You should be thinking about your club. Now, in reality, if it isn't possible to sign a better manager, and what I mean by that is, say the only available option is De Zerbi, I think that's too much of a risk. He's never managed at this level. So therefore, you maybe don't sack him. But if you could get someone in with a better track record who's won major trophies, and he doesn't win you anything and doesn't compete for this title, then you move him on. I think there's a very, very good squad here. There's still some holes, but I agree with that super chat 100%. Blaze here says, can't wait for the scenes when Chelsea wins a cup. And Tottenham finishes above Arsenal this year will really make all those projects and phases lawyers look really stupid. That's what Blaze says. Massive trophies this year. Charity dinner plate, shield, and Christmas top of the League Cup. Arsenal fans got ahead of themselves again. Scary, they said. No, I said. But again, I'm talking from my perspective. You've got to understand what an individual making points are. You're looking at their perspective. Do you know that all of our teams, as much as we hate some of us hate our teams, are scary to my brother's team, Leyton Orient? All of them. If any of us turned up to Brisbane Lane, they'd be worried. Perspective is key. They spend 160 million on Rice. Well, they didn't spend 160 million on Rice. That's a lie. Can we give Arsenal fans a "we dominated games" trophy? Because that's the only trophy they win this season. Klopp played Arteta with limited options. I don't think people at Arsenal, I've not had any Arsenal fans celebrate that. What I'm hearing is there's elements they know that the team's good. That's probably why Arsenal fans are more angry, because they can see elements that are really good. Like I look at my team, we don't score the goals, we don't dominate the game. So it's not as though Arsenal are a million miles away. In terms of Klopp played Arteta with limited options, I'm going to be fair here to both. Both have players missing. Let's not pretend Arsenal don't have a number of people missing as well. But we won't do that narrative. Go get Olivier Giroud is what Mohamed says. Dybala for 12 million. Would you take him, Brandon? Dybala for 12 million?
No, not clinical enough. Not clinical enough. And you've got to look at the attributes of the player as well. What we're really missing, like when we put the ball in the box, we need somebody who's tall and physical as well. That's why Ivan Toney's the perfect fit for us, because he could do everything that Jesus can do, but he also knows where to be in the box, when to be in the box as an out-and-out number 9, and he's got the tall and physical attributes to get on the end of crosses. And that's why Havertz up front at the moment, because he holds the ball up, because he's tall and he's physical. And that's what we're missing with Jesus.
What I would say about Dybala, I know you got a few super chats. I was just spit this out real quick about Dybala. Perfect alternative to Odegaard, though, who's been struggling. That's what I would say. And for 12 million, it's very, very, very rare. Very rare to find a player of Dybala's quality for 12 mil. You got so maybe that.
I agree. Sorin here says, actually, that is not how you say it. Rack told us last week how to say it, and I forget, but I apologize. He says, clever management by Klopp today. Well done. Bring Lee Gunner on. I think he's fuming. Well, I'll probably be featuring him on Fan Channel Review tomorrow. And I'm sure he's fuming because he'll feel very vindicated for his opinions. And Jonathan here says, need a left back, Tierney on loan. Need a striker, Balogun at Monaco. If that's not awful management, what is?
Tierney doesn't want to come back on loan. And I don't.
To be fair, Balogun advanced with his team today. And
Tierney should never have left anyway. Well, as soon as Timber was injured, we should never have let him go.
By the way, he has done absolutely nothing. He's probably got about 4 goals this season, I think.
He's done an all right job, because I watched Monaco earlier today. Them and Ben Yedder rotate a bit out. Has he been lights out, Balogun? No, by any means. But he's had some good performances. The goals I think will come, but that's just me.
The Lost Knight says we could buy Mbappe and still not freaking score. Arteta is clueless. Bringing on a ruined Emil Smith Rowe in the 85th minute. Come on, mate. His treatment of Emil Smith Rowe is weird. I don't mean it like he's treating him badly. I just don't understand. There's something that's gone wrong there. And maybe
I personally think he just can't last that long. I genuinely think that's probably what it is, because otherwise
Then
he
why
starts
don't you
there.
sell him off?
He
Then?
can't last
Why
that
don't you
long.
sell
What,
him
in a
then?
game?
I don't know.
Bro, Mikel
You gave him
Arteta
the number
does
10
this, bro.
shirt.
This is the shocking thing, yeah. Mikel Arteta comes out here and he says to me, he wants to keep. Well, he doesn't say it to me. He says it out in the media to everybody. Yeah, I want to keep Emil Smith Rowe. He was never in the plans to get sold. This and that. It's fucking bullshit, mate. It's fucking bullshit, because you tell me you want to keep a player and then you don't start him. You bring him on with 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go. I'm sorry, but unless there's a stroke of luck, what player is going to make an effect on a game with 10 minutes to go? It takes around 5 to 10 minutes just for the player to get into the game and get into the motion and get involved. Do you know what I mean? And get with the pace of the game, especially when you're coming at that late of the game, bro. So yeah, his man management today was shocking.
Yeah.
Emil Smith Rowe at Arsenal right now is the football version of hoarders. He's just there in a bunch of a heaping pile of not trash, but he's just there because it's reasons.
Yeah, he's got to be moved on for everyone's sake. Arteta has been in charge for 4 years, spent 700 million, and so far all he's got to show for it is an FA Cup with Pepe, Lacazette, David Luiz, and Aubameyang, who are all deemed not good enough for Arteta inners. Yeah, look, I think he has helped you complete this rebuild, which I think has made your squad good enough to compete for the Premier League. And if you think he isn't a good enough manager and coach, and you're a handful of points at the top, a better manager with this squad would be doing even better, right? That's the logic, I assume. He's helped with that element, but that's why I said at the beginning of the season, he's got to win something this year or he's got to be moved on. And Arsenal fans that love Arteta, you've got to learn to love your club more. Doesn't mean if he turns it round, you can't say well done to him, but you've got to wake up and smell the coffee here. If you don't win anything, you can't just persist with this guy. As a general rule.
Terry, is Mancini available?
I see a stat earlier, by the way, right?
Probably. I think he is.
It was comparing Lacazette and Gabriel Jesus, and the amount of games played, goals scored, assists created, and they're basically the same. It's identical. And Lacazette wasn't good enough, but apparently
but you would say that Gabriel Jesus, in terms of, and this is what I would challenge you on that, is when Saka scores and assists, you go, yeah, but what else did he do? Jesus has made you a better footballing team. He's a better overall football player than Lacazette. Surely you would admit that, right?
Yeah.
But Terry, what you said with Terry and the straight facts a while ago about Zaha versus Rashford has way more end product. Zaha might be a better footballer.
No, and this is why I think it's a case of Ivan Toney's needed. Because I think if you have someone like Ivan Toney, who is the lead striker scoring the goals, you're only noticing Gabriel Jesus' lack of goals this year because Martinelli and Saka are not scoring. Liverpool fans went through this. They didn't mind Firmino not scoring until they had a few seasons where Mane and Salah weren't quite scoring like before. Suddenly, Firmino goals became a thing because suddenly you missed that lack of goals. So I do get where you're coming from. Jimmy here says 15 years ago, players like Saka and Martinelli are bench players or on loan for title-challenging teams. In this era, they are called world-class, is what Jimmy O'Hare says. Waste all their money on Raya and Havertz. Poor recruitment. Liverpool didn't need to spend big in the last 3 seasons like Arsenal. Chelsea have. We move. You still spent a bit. Though. Liverpool spent quite a bit though. Come on, it's not like you spent no money.
100 million on Darwin Nunez.
Decent amount.
Let's have a look. Go on, Steve.
I was just gonna say, even if that was true, hypothetically, you know why they haven't had to? They have a spine. They have a spine. Alisson, Van Dijk, Trent, those guys. Salah.
So let's look at the last 3 years. Let's go back to this. This summer, 172 million. Summer before that, 142 million. Summer before that, 87 million. So let's not pretend Liverpool spent no money in that time.
More.
Yeah. Come on now.
Compare it to Arsenal, though.
Have some respect for the Arsenal team. Only 2 players from Real Madrid can get into that Arsenal team, according to Arsenal fans. Give them Real Madrid in the Champions League. Yeah, I think the football gods are still angry. Arsenal should go get that prolific striker. Don't change your shape or tactics. Go to 3 back when you go behind. Arteta needs to be stern in benching the regulars. I think a lot of people would agree.
We do need a striker, but I don't think Ivan Toney actually fixes our problems. I think we need to buy a deadly striker in Victor Osimhen or
Vlahovic, maybe.
Yeah,
Scored a clutch header again
those
tonight for Juve.
strikers I'd want. I just don't think Toney solves it, and Toney's 100 million as well.
What about Victor Osimhen? He's like 112.
But you know what you're going to get with him, and with Toney,
Serie A and to Premier League.
I don't know.
Serie A to Premier League, there have been successful players that came from all leagues, though. That's the thing.
Do you not, Brandon? You put your hands over your head when he said that Toney doesn't fix you.
Premier League proven, scores goals, has all the attributes that's required. Why not? Victor Osimhen, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. He scores a lot of goals in Serie A, but that's Serie A. You know, you see players come in from different leagues into the Premier League, and yeah, okay, you do get a handful or quite a lot of them that do settle, but they take at least a season to settle into the Premier League properly, because Premier League, compared to most other leagues, it's a different pace. It's a different, you know, you got to work out certain things. Like, for example, Victor Osimhen, if I had to compare him to another player who also struggled to settle into the Premier League, I'd say Timo Werner.
No,
Timo Werner scored goal after goal after goal after goal in the Bundesliga, come into the Premier League and flopped.
Yeah, we don't know that about
Brandon. I'm gonna just, because I've watched both extensively over the years. Completely different players, though. With Osimhen, way taller, way more physical. Arguably quicker than Osimhen. Osimhen's arguably quicker than Werner. Werner's no slouch. And the thing is the aerial dominance and just for me, if I had to kind of describe Osimhen, he's just a bully, and you know, Ivan Toney, he's a bully. Yeah, a bully. A guy that says, I'm getting that header. I'll destroy all the center backs in front of me.
I sort of look at it this way. I think both would work for Arsenal. I actually think Victor Osimhen, I think there's a serious player in there. I think he's got the athleticism to cope with the Premier League, where I don't believe that Timo Werner did. It's going to be interesting how it's really weird with Timo Werner, though. A lot of Man United fans that was fuming when we linked with him and now saying, oh my God, he's going to kill it at Tottenham. Very weird way to go. But yeah, very weird change of feelings in a few days. Let's do some more of these super chats here. AA says close to 7 XG over the last 3 games. Yet Arteta is to blame. A team who scores the most goals last season in Arsenal's history. Yet Arteta is to blame. Shameless, crazy fan base. Look,
the only thing I'll say.
Yeah, go on, Sard.
Sorry, the only thing I'll say, is that Arteta is to blame for this game, because of his substitutions. Yeah, we can all come out and say, oh, he done great in putting the team out that managed to create goals and they weren't able to finish chances. So when half time comes and we haven't been able to finish chances, okay, fine. You bring the players out the same as they were. You give them 10 minutes, yeah? If they're still not able to score goals, bring on Trossard, who is a known goal scorer. Yeah? As funny as it is, bring in Nketiah. As funny as that sounds, bring him on. See what Nketiah might do. Do you know what I mean? Bring on somebody who can score goals. Don't just sit there and wait until like the 60th, 70th, 80th minute and be like, okay, right now I'm going to try and make a difference in this game when we're losing.
Just to answer that previous super chat as well, Tel, nobody cares about XG. And when you've got your profile picture as Kai Havertz, that tells me everything you need to know, mate. Like your point ain't valid. End of.
Right. Look, I think there's a mixture here. I understand Brandon's point. And no one has yet kind of debunked it that, well, a lot of the players that are struggling, he's given new deals to or he signed. So that's kind of on the manager. Equally, a lot of people that hate Arteta love Pep. But yet Pep's the guy that says, I coach my team to get to the edge of the box. After that, it's up to them. And everybody kind of buys into that. And I think there's a happy medium here. I think some of the players are underperforming, but they would go through this even if it was like, lots of players. I've seen great players at City struggle and go through bad periods. This is kind of normal. But then you have to look at the overall club and the manager again and say, how well did he build the squad? Because we all know Reece Nelson, we all know Nketiah, these guys are not good enough when you need them. Where with Man City, if Jack Grealish is off the boil, if we go back to last season when we know when they won everything, Mahrez comes on. I've got no KDB, but Gundogan is there. And then that's when you look at the squad building. So I think it's all 3 things you have to focus on. The squad building, the managers coaching and impacting games, and then individual players. Don't fall into the trap that Man United fans do, where we go down the line of, if we just sack the manager, we'll be fine. If we just sell Rashford, we're good. If we just get a better director of football, we're going to be great. It's never just, it very rarely is one of those things when you're still trying to get back to the top. It's all generally a combination. Can I just say Salah only has one foot. However, he adapts to make it work. Saka just needs to adapt to improve. Give this squad and Arteta a chance, is what Jamie says here. No Salah, no Van Dijk, no Saliba, no Robertson, no Endo, no Thiago, no Matip, no Tsimikas, no Bajcetic, no problem. And again, Kanate, what a defender, is what Man Like Honesty has got to say here. Arteta don't trust the players to sub them from the bench. Let's start them. Then why keep them? It's a good point. It's a good point. It doesn't. Man United have done this mistake as well, so I'll be very fair on that. How does our backup goalkeeper feel? We're begging Cameroon to let Onana play a game. That just sends a message that I don't think you're anywhere near good enough. So then when he does have to play, what's his confidence going to be like? Saka is not performing to the standard, but to call him not good enough is disingenuous. There is a reason why every team double marks him. On him, do you guys think the Achilles issue is a problem? Do you think it's a fair reason to stop? Is he playing with an injury where he should be rested? Is he playing too many games?
I think personally with the Saka situation, I think he's too comfortable. He knows that Reece Nelson ain't nowhere near him. Even when Saka's not playing well for prolonged periods of time or long stretches in games, he knows damn well Reece Nelson ain't starting no significant game for Arsenal.
But that's another reason why I want a striker, is that we can move Jesus to that right wing to challenge Saka.
If Arteta has the balls to do it,
be the closest one.
If Arteta had the balls to do it, but that's a sorry, I forget your name. Matt. Sorry, yeah. What I'll say about that is, though, we've never seen Jesus play right wing for Arsenal. I don't think.
We've seen it over a few games last year in like the Europa League and obviously friendly.
Europa,
he can play. Yeah, Jesus can play right. He did that predominantly for Manchester City, so he can play right. But again, I come back to this point, right? We gave Reece Nelson a new contract in the summer. Arsenal fans are like, oh, it's a good piece of business. It's a good piece of business. I was saying no, it's not. But do you know why we gave Reece Nelson a new contract? Because it's the easiest thing to do. It's the cheaper thing to do for the footbell club. We'd rather
instead of going out and buying.
We signed Reece Nelson to a contract. He's on 60k a week, by the way.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper to give Reece Nelson a new contract. It's cheaper to give Reece Nelson a new contract.
10, 15, 20 million from him.
It's cheaper.
That's better than getting nothing from him.
It's cheaper to give Reece Nelson a new contract than what it is to go and spend 45-50 million pound on a right winger that can actually take Bukayo Saka's place. That's why the football club did it, right? That's why half of these players are here still that shouldn't be here. And this is why I get on to fans that go, oh, just be happy. Just be happy. No, it's not good enough. NK is not good enough. Reece Nelson's not good enough.
Now, Reece Nelson's on 100 grand a week. His contract's 5.2 million a year. He's on 100 grand a week.
I don't think he is.
There you go.
Wow. That's from Spot Rack. Sorry, that they've got stats. It might be different websites. Ray here says typical Liverpool away performance, should be smacked before any time, but the difference is that Liverpool got a counter attack that will score. Look, Liverpool would just, there's been too many games this year where you look at it and go, they could have been losing or they could have lost and they've won for it to be fluke. It's happened too many times for it to be a fluke. It's weird as well, because if it was Liverpool doing it, Arsenal doing this or United doing this or Chelsea doing it, we'd all say, it's not sustainable. It is for Liverpool. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I don't have the articulation or I'm not a good enough orator to explain it. But I watch this Liverpool team play and it's almost like I don't know how to explain it.
You want me to give?
Yeah, go on. You do it.
You got the assist. I'll tap it in. They've crossed the line before. They've done it. They have won big games. They've won Champions Leagues. They've won Premier Leagues.
I should doubt them.
Carabao Cup.
Yeah, I should doubt them.
Over the line.
But doubting them, how I doubt other teams and clubs at this point, just doesn't. It doesn't feel right. It's like, they don't feel right. You know when you leave your house and you think you might have left the iron on or the oven on. That's how I feel when I say when anyone says Liverpool not good enough. I feel like there's like something in the back of my mind that is not computing that says, no, I think you're wrong.
because
about
they've
that.
gotten over the
And
line.
I can't even always
before.
articulate why. It's just a feeling. Need that blonde dye to damage Saka's hair follicles. I did say someone tweet the other day that since he dyed his hair ginger, he's turned into Rashford. And I'm like, yeah, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Maybe just get it out your hair. Get it out your hair. Need him bald to be like a young Robin. I like that. Arteta is going to destroy Saka. Star, do you believe that? Do you think Arteta could destroy Saka?
Yes.
I think so. I think we're on the brink of that, because what the whole system change. This is the thing with Saka for me, because we say he's one dimensional and he can only do one thing, which is go on his left, yeah. But that's not entirely true, because last season that's not what he was doing. He wasn't just going on his left. Saka was on his left. Saka was on his right. I saw him score countless amounts of goals with his right foot. I saw him go into his right foot and cross it in. I saw him go into his right foot and put it through the middle. So something that's happened this season, something has changed with the system in itself, where he's telling Saka, just go on your left foot, cut in. Do your little thing with Erdegaard and stay on your left foot. And I genuinely don't know what he's done with the system to change it, but something has changed in this system, which has not only affected it's the reality of it is it's all stems from the midfield change. What he's done to change this midfield, like you could have put Rice in there and it would have been fine. But the fact that you're putting Rice in there and now you're missing Partey, and then now you're putting Kai Havertz in there, who in the midfield is invisible, by the way. He has 35 touches to 40 touches a game, by the way, for a midfielder, which is shocking. It does not work with the attackers. It doesn't work. It doesn't utilize the attackers to the level that they should be performing at. Hence why I'm not going to criticize my players fully.
I get you on that. Dollar Pro here says something though, which is any club in the world would take both of Arsenal's wingers, and it's Arteta's job to get the best out of them. And what I would say about that is true. If they were put on South, if any of our clubs, Newcastle, Liverpool, Man United, that's what we've got here. If it was announced tomorrow that Saka was joining our clubs, we'd be buzzing. If it was announced Martinelli was joining our clubs, I think we'd be buzzing, which is why I'm not as much. They deserve criticism for their bad performances, but there's players in there, you know, they're of that level. So you're right. The manager.
So the question is then, Tel, why are we not getting the best out of them?
Well, but I think it's a combination of things. I think Saka's overplayed.
Yeah.
I think that the pressure is getting to the players this season. I think that's part of it. I also think as well the comfortability factor's there. If Arteta's not the one telling Saka to keep cutting onto his left and he keeps doing it, drop him. And I made this point to Man United fans when they go, yeah, but if we drop Sancho, we're playing a lesser player instead of him. We'll blame Sancho then for not being good enough. It's a weird concept. It's one of these things. When I was a kid, I broke my next door neighbor's car window. He tried to kick my cat. So when it was dark, I went outside of a catapult and smashed his car windows, right? Then I got caught. We had a cup semi-final, my Sunday league team. My punishment, I was banned for playing football for a month. Couldn't go to football. Dad, we've got a semi-final. I want to play. And I blame my dad. If we go out, it's your fault. And my coach said it to me. He went, no, it's your fault, because you've got yourself banned from playing. And that's the problem that football fans have nowadays. They'll go, if Saka's being bad and he gets dropped, we can't drop him. It's Reece Nelson that comes in. Blame Saka then for not being good enough. But we don't. We'll blame Reece. You'd blame Reece Nelson for not being good enough coming in. That isn't the right attitude to have. You have to look at the better the player, the more scrutiny. Like Reece Nelson should never receive as much criticism as Saka ever. He's nowhere near as good. That's the way it should be, in my personal opinion.
So just to bring it back to your point then, Tel, because the three reasons that you gave, which is he's overplayed, he doesn't have the competition, he's comfortable, and he's not being used correctly in the system, like with Arteta at the moment. If I can see that, you can see that, every Tom, Dick and Harry can see that, why can't the best looking Spaniard we know see that? Do you know what I mean?
Mate, I agree. Listen, and I think that a lot of the criticism, some of the criticism, not all of it, some of the criticism of Arteta is absolutely spot on, because he is ultimately the manager of these players and he needs to get the best out of them. There are elements where you criticize them, but then if you keep playing them, it becomes a you issue. Like Anthony's poor, shouldn't have spent 90 million pounds on him for Man United, but the manager keep picking him. It goes, my criticism of the player stops, and I look at the fact he's being picked as being the issue there. And I think it's all part of the problem. Let's be honest, Liverpool were bad in the first half. Our strikers not scoring, concerning, but it's Arsenal's fault. They should have killed the game in the first half. Subs again saved us, is what Mr. K says. I agree with everything you've said there, mate. Daniel, who's a Chelsea fan, says, we told you about Havertz, but we misprofiled him. Yeah.
Some Arsenal fans wanted to pay Chelsea more money for him.
The revisionism of old players is hilarious. After the FA Cup win, what happened during the COVID season with those players? We were in the trenches. Yeah, I do agree there's revisionism about some of those old players and old managers, but every club seems to do that. You know, every club, like there are people, there's evidence out there of people saying that Ronaldo's not a proper footballer, but still laughing that Man United got rid of him. It happens to all of our clubs. It's crazy. Werner is the quickest player ever after Michael Owen. Osimhen on speed is nothing like Werner. Werner had 44 GA in 2 seasons. He is different and better than Victor Osimhen.
No. And you could even go back to when Timo Werner broke out at Stuttgart. He was still missing sitters from either the left or centrally, but he would bag some goals. With Osimhen, that is a killer. That is a guy where if you present him even a half chance.
I think you're missing the point, though. I think the point that he's trying to make there is he had 44 goals and assists in the Bundesliga. And yeah, you're right. Werner still missed a lot of chances, but you get a lot more chances in the Bundesliga and in Serie A. You don't get that many chances in the Premier League, and you have to finish them when you get them, which is our biggest problem at the moment.
But I don't know if it's specific. Sorry, Matt, go
on. Who was Chelsea's creator for Timo Werner?
Reece James.
Kai Havertz.
James.
Yeah, exactly.
Mason Mount.
Mason Mount.
I'm not laughing at that one. Last season, Saka and Martinelli were being overplayed. They are young and fatigue will affect their performance. I do think overplaying them is part of it. And I know that everyone wants to win now, but I've said this for years and it keeps getting overlooked. And I don't really get why. Having young players as your stars and the guys you're relying on doesn't work. They need to be surrounded by elder statesmen. It's important. AB here, great question. Have Arsenal fans set themselves too high? I think he means expectations.
Why shouldn't we?
Not expectations. I think just they set themselves a too high of a ceiling and too high of how they rated their players. Then everything came falling down. The expectations are fine.
Rating on players is too high, but our expectations as to where we should be as a football club, I don't think that's too high at all. We're the 3rd biggest club in the country. We haven't won a title in 20 years. We was in a title race last season that we should have won. Why shouldn't the expectations be where they are now?
Yeah.
Win major honours.
I think what's
£40 million spent as well. Come on.
I think once those players have reached that level that they did last season, you know that they can reach that level.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm asking them to continue the level that they reached. You can't reach that level and then drop like that. You can't.
No, yeah, I
you have
agree.
to be consistent.
You know, I find really interesting. Yeah. Sorry, mate. I think that what?
No,
so you finish your point, Sard. Sorry, mate. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say, and that's why I'll never come out and say the only player at most I would have said that is world class in our team was Thomas Partey. That's probably the only one I would have come out and said that was world class, because the other players, yes, they've shown it for that one season, but for you to be world class, you have to perform at the top level for years. For at least 2 to 3 years.
And I understand that. Look, I don't think the expectations now are too high. There are some individuals who have ridiculous expectations of football that I would disagree, but the overarching view is that you've got to go and win something big now. And I think that's fair after the amount of time he's had to rebuild, because he has rebuilt. I think people 18 months in, they were expecting him to beat Man City to titles. That was a ridiculous expectation to have at that particular moment in time in history. But now you've got to expect it. You know, £750 million spent, 2nd in the league last year, some really talented players. You've got to expect that. You've got to expect it, especially if you're someone that said, what a squad, what great players we've got. You can't have a great squad, great players, have brilliant transfer windows, and then not expect to deliver trophies. That is not, listen, I'm not an Arsenal fan, I'm a Man United fan, but you're one of the biggest clubs in the world, not just England. You've got to demand winning the major trophies. It has to happen. Jerome here said Werner is a bang average player. I don't know why Spurs signed him on loan. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one that to watch. Over possessive, overly cautious, defensive tactics with a hole in midfield and random dropping of players have killed the confidence of the Arsenal team. Excellent breakdown in the super chat. Arsenal do 36 passes average to get one shot and then miss. I hear you there. Look, I want to thank everybody that has tuned into the show today, all of our contributors, all of our super chatters. You've been amazing. Please hit the like button before you go. Tomorrow, of course, we're back. Top 6 show. Man United versus Wigan. FA Cup match reaction as well. I hope we get through. FA Cup.
Say one last question.
Yeah, of course you can, bro. Go on.
So, people like Lee Gunner were like Ancelotti, Simeone, right? And if we brought him in, what would the expectations be? Like a quadruple
win the big
because of
trophies.
what they can do?
To win the big trophies,
mate. That's what the expectation.
That's always been. That's always
got to be
been
a treble or something.
No.
Why?
What you're doing, Matt, I'm going to shut you down on that. What you're then doing, though, is this is what will happen. And fans have got to stop this. Say Arteta gets sacked today and you get Simeone. What certain Arsenal fans would do is go, well, I'm now setting the expectations of win a treble or you should be sacked. The way they behave for Arteta will change. Equally, there'll be a lot of people that have been win a league or you're out will suddenly have lower expectations if Simeone doesn't happen because we are far too emotional. And I will use a league on a word here. We are far too emotional about paid employees versus where you want your club to be. The expectation should be the same to go and win major trophies. You can't suddenly think, well, if you're not winning trebles, that's crazy. Because again, you're setting an expectation for him to do something which only 2 clubs in the history of English football have done in 130 years. That's a ridiculous expectation. Come on.
Can I
now.
ask a question? Right. Let's just say, for an example, right now, David Ornstein tweets out, Mikel Arteta has been sacked after the loss to Liverpool. Who would you go and get then?
Well,
and what would your expectation?
Because I wouldn't be expecting Arteta to be sacked.
No, but hypothetically,
if it happened, hypothetically, if it happened, who would you go get?
Can I choose anyone?
Okay.
Outside of the untenable 4 that Terry gave, I guess.
Or should we just shut the football club down because Mikel Arteta can't do any better? Nobody can do better than
just keep in mind, Matt. Just keep in mind, Matt. While you
type of players, maybe.
There is someone better. There is.
Yeah, there is someone better.
Well, name it then. Name it.
Graham
Potter. I don't know.
Graham Potter.
Graham Potter is nuts.
No, not Graham Potter.
Steve, who do you think would be the right person to replace Arteta if he was to go?
Xabi Alonso.
He is not moving to Arsenal. Stop it.
Cool. What do you mean
he's coming to Liverpool. Don't do that. He's coming to Liverpool. Don't worry about that.
Okay, Xabi Alonso. What would the expectation be?
For the first season to challenge.
See,
there you go.
This is the thing.
But it can't be anything longer than that.
Matt, it's where you're wrong. I don't think he'd be the right person 1 year into his managerial career, but let's just say he was. You've done your rebuild. Sacking a manager doesn't mean rebuild every time. You've done your rebuild. A new manager comes in, the expectations should remain exactly where they are now to win major trophies. Now, you contextualize it. You might finish 1 point off of winning the Premier League on 95 points as an example. So therefore, you don't maybe sack him. But once you've completed a rebuild, and there's always going to be holes in your squad because every team buys and sells players every summer, that's where the expectations stay. So that's where me and Standard FC agree. I have the same standards of them where you want your club to get back to. They just want to ignore where they were when they start the rebuild and go, no, we've got to get there instantly, which is nonsense. But that's why I said this season's win-win for Arsenal. You either win with Arteta or you essentially sack him and bring someone better in to make you win. I don't understand. Say that happens. Say my thoughts around your club happen. Surely you wouldn't be upset if you sacked Arteta, brought in, I'm going to say De Zerbi, using it as an example, and then you won the league. I'm telling you now, if a year later you're holding the trophy, you're not going to get, you're going to, exactly. So don't, unless you genuinely believe those managers are not better than Arteta, there should be no reason not to sack him.
Terry, to answer, Terry, to answer your question about if I was in Arsenal's position and it don't work out, Arteta, I'd take a serious look at people Inzaghi at Inter. Simone Inzaghi, sorry, his brother people.
Simone Inzaghi is good. There's also the guy at Sporting I like the look of as well. Amorim. Again, there are managers to look at and there's risks with them, there's no doubt. But this is the point I'd say to Arsenal fans. If you truly believe you've got a brilliant squad, you truly think the rebuild is complete, Unless, again, I understand you're sticking by Arteta if you don't think there's better available managers. Genuinely, that makes more sense than just stick with the manager. Right. If you don't think there's other people that are better, because that doesn't, by the way, it doesn't make any sense to sack Arteta and bring a worse manager in unless he's lost the dressing room. That's stupid. That really is stupid. But we'll see. Look, I want to thank every single. What about Hansi Flick? I don't want Arteta out, by the way. Look, Flick's an option potentially. He's got a lot of experience. He knows what he's doing. So there are people out there. Look, I want to thank everyone that's tuned in. Hit the like button, subscribe. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon.